Boom. Tell me I'm on time. Tell me. Tell me I hit it right on the dot. It's a beautiful Monday morning, and what I need to hear you tell me now is that I am loud and clear. Guys, I'm over here at Simoson Building in my office, and let's... Way too much sugar in that. I shouldn't even be doing sugar, for goodness sake. Huh? I'm at a place in my life now where the most important thing is your health. You know, forget sugar. Forget all these additives. We're on the straight and narrow. It's all about life and living now. Honestly, real. Well, actually, the truth is it's not that much sugar, but I really shouldn't be taking sugar at all. I really shouldn't. Guys, do me a favor, jump on here real quick and see if you can share this live wherever you're watching me from, and please tell me if I'm loud and clear, and if I am, thank you for saying that. Thank you, all of you, for taking the time out of your very busy schedule to spend a few moments with me here on SML TV. I appreciate that 100% throw up there. Thanks, guys. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Couple of things I want to talk about before we get into our main topic. First of all, did you guys hear about the female traffic officer that apprehended 3 people, 2 of which were soldiers? Here's what happened. This was on the 28th of April. There was a little Vitz, a little tiny car, driving out of Lewanika Mall. And this very vigilant female police officer, you know, these are the people we need to know. We need to know their names. We need to know where they're stationed, so that we congratulate them, so that we pull out our hands and say, officer, congratulations. We don't hear enough of these stories. These are the stories we want to hear. So this female police officer notices that this little tiny Vitz pulling out of Lewanika Mall sort of committed some type of traffic, offense, traffic violation. And usually that's how they get you, really. So she notices, look, you've done the wrong thing, pull over there. She walks up to the little Vitz. She looks in the Vitz. She realizes that there are too many people stuffed in this little tiny car. And she says, look, what gives? What's going on here? They try to explain their way. She says, no, we need to take you downtown. She hops into the car, and the car, instead of going to the police, it diverts. I mean, this stuff is straight out of a movie. I mean, there's a whole movie based upon this same thing. I mean, Wyclef Mwamba did a movie called Contravene, and talk about life imitating art. Sometimes art imitates life, but in this case, life, real life events imitating art, film and plays. And so this officer says to the driver of the little tiny Vitz, she says, where the hell are you going? She gets on her walkie-talkie, she gets on her talking device, and she calls for backup. The police respond. I mean, literally, the cavalry comes through, and they start to question the driver and everybody in there. Well, come to find out, these jokers had 61.7 grams of psychotropic substances, as we say in Zambia. Do you know what a psychotropic substance is? A psychotropic substance is a substance that alters your behavior and your judgment. Okay, it's a drug, and once you're caught with a psychotropic substance, in this case marijuana, that's a non-bailable offense. Did you guys know this? DEC, you need to begin to sensitize the Zambian public that if you're caught with psychotropic substances, it is a non-bailable offense. Well, the police apprehended these guys. they discovered later on that two of these guys were soldiers. And they were in possession of 61.7 grams of marijuana. Now, just to give you perspective, the street value of marijuana differs depending on which country, what laws are in that country, the grade of marijuana, you know, whether it's high grade or middle grade, low grade. All these things contribute to the street value of it. Of course, now they've got medical marijuana, which if you want to harvest and grow medical marijuana in Zambia, you need a license that costs $250,000 US dollars. It's a very lucrative international business. But if you're going to deal in the illegal trade of marijuana, then you're going to have to bear the brunt of that action if and when you were arrested. So anyway, these soldiers, one of the soldiers said, look, I'm a commando and this, that, and the other. Well, the police said, well, we're going to have to hand you over to DEC. Okay, we're going to have to hand you over to the Drug Enforcement Commission. 61.7 grams of marijuana, for example, in America, the street value, depending on where you are, of a gram of marijuana is about $20. Now, $20 times 61.7 grams is about $1,234. So these jokers had $1,234 and they've gone to jail for $1,234. Can you believe that? I mean, imagine the guy calling his wife, honey, they got me. What do they get you for? Oh, I was in possession of psychotropic substances. Well, how much did you have? I had 61.7 grams. Well, how much is that in street value? It's about $1,234. Well, are you coming home? No, it's a non-bailable offense. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. Anyway, so that happened on the 28th of April, and trial begins today for that case. What's the lesson there? Guys, don't do this. DEC, you need to begin to do sensitization campaigns about not only the dangers, but the consequences of trading in psychotropic substances. And I know some of you are going to sit there and say, but mwewa, how do you know all of these things? Guys, come on. Chat GPT. What do you think? This stuff came to me by osmosis? Huh? What do you think? You think I go to bed thinking about this stuff? It's all there on the internet. All you got to do is just read and research. For goodness sake, guys. What are you trying to do? Implicate me? Come on, give me a break. All righty. Before, again, I got something else I need to talk to you about. As you know, about Given Lubinda, I'm not even sure who Given Lubinda is in as far as the power structure of the PF is concerned, because so much has happened. Everything between Tonse and Uka and Miles and Robert Chavinga and Chilangwa, it becomes very confusing. So we don't even know what position we are given Lubinda holds in the PF now. Whether it's Secretary General, whether it's I don't know. Well, Given the other day sort of sent out a communique. Hey, Stacey B, I see you. Sent out a communique where he said, look, nobody should attend, nobody should go to Belvedere Lodge. Now, if you guys don't know where Belvedere Lodge, it's in Kabalonga. It's a state-owned facility. And not too long ago, I remember there was a funeral. Please remind me whose funeral that was. It was a couple of years ago. And this funeral, for the first time I saw the PF choir singing right next to the UPND choir, something that was unheard of during the PF. During the PF, that would not have happened. But under Hagainde Ichilema, there was a situation where PF singers could sing right next to a group of UPND choir members. Please tell me whose funeral was that? I forget who it was. Are you sure? I forget who it was, but that happened. Anyway, while given Lubinda, it was FJT, was it really? Okay. While given Lubinda sent out a communique, and he was very emphatic. He says, nobody should go to Belvedere Lodge. Nobody should go to any other place as far as this funeral is concerned, unless it's at the PF Secretariat. Anyone that's seen at any other venue in a PF t-shirt or anything else should be regarded as a fake PF member. The only true green PF members that are mourning the late ECL are the ones that are going to be found at the PF Secretariat on Lumumba Road. If you go to Belvedere Lodge, you're not a bona fide PF member. If you go to Pamodzi Hotel, you're not a bona fide member of the PF. If you go to Long Acres Mall, you're not a bona fide member of the PF. The only place that you can genuinely mourn by ECL is the PF Secretariat. Oh, and by the way, we don't have any food. You want to go ahead and give us some food? Anybody that has the ability, the wherewithal to donate any food, because we're broke as hell. But keep in mind, don't you dare go anywhere else. Even though we know if you go to Belvedere Lodge, there's going to be food, drinks, lots of television sets. We know that. But don't you go there, because if you go to Belvedere, you're not a genuine member of the PF. Because that's the implication. That is the modus operandi of the PF. When PF gives you a directive and you go against that directive, Bwana ni kutukaniwa na kumenyewa. That is the medicine they have. PF. Mutibakwata. Fiabafinga fibidi. Kutukaniwa na kumenyewa. They will insult you between here and kingdom come, and they will beat you within an inch of your life. I was very amused. Last night, I'm going through my news feed, and I saw this Thomas, what's his name? I always mix it up. Bikiron Difficulty. Well, how do you say his last name? I always want to say Siolapwa. What's his last name? Thomas Sipalo. Tell me in the comments, what's his name? Well, Thomas shows up at the PF Secretariat with, of all people, Black Apple. I haven't seen Black Apple in 2 years. I saw him on there and I said, what the hell is going on here? Now, if you guys know anything about the PF, you'll understand that Black Apple was a very notorious character during he was notorious. The chap was bad news. MPF twalikwete avena cabbage, avena Black Apple. You see, during the PF, there was lawlessness, and they had their own disciplinary sort of committee. And anyone who stepped out of line in this area, for example, and I can only speak for the Simoson Lumumba Road area because this is where I work. We used to have a place called, what was it called? But the guy in charge there was a guy named Cabbage. Black Apple was one of Cabbage's lieutenants. Hey, when they send you to Cabbage, bwana, ulebwera na ulemana. When they send you to Cabbage there, my goodness, puma, and they used to have a way of punching you in the ribs. It was a very systematic way. They wouldn't hit you and leave scars on your face. They would punch you in such a way that they would sort of fracture your ribs without external visible injuries. I'm in a Cabbage. I'm in a Black Apple. Oh, imwenga mwaba mona fi Thomas Aide ku secretariat na bena Black Apple na fuala na ka barret fila tulanda muchibemba ka barret. In English it's beret. Okay, let's be clear. The English word for the little black hat, that's called a beret. But muchibemba tulanda barret. Udia Black Apple yo fuele ka barret udia. That guy was dangerous during the PF. It was bad news. So I was amused to see Thomas show up with a bunch of vigilantes. Those chaps they didn't play around. In retrospect, you think it's funny. But at the time, I can assure you, there was nothing funny when they take you to Cabbage. Cabbage. That was his name, Cabbage. I mean a Cabbage. I mean a Black Apple. Bale Puma! You know, when I look back on those days, I think, dear God, how did we even survive that? Anyway, so guys, let's get into it. I've been saying this for a very long time. You know, I was watching Raphael hijack Nakachinda on South African TV. Winston Churchill once famously said, never disparage your country on foreign soil. You know, Winston Churchill, late Prime Minister of Great Britain, they called him the British Bulldog. We shall fight them on the shores. We shall fight them in the trenches. Never give up, never surrender, never, never, never. Yes, that Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill famously said, never disparage your country on foreign soil. In other words, and of course, I know leaders do this and it's wrong. You know, there was a time in global geopolitics, there was a time we had politicians like that. Politicians that loved their nation so much that the moment they step on foreign soil, they would never deliberately castigate their country, especially create falsities and falsehoods about their country. There were people like that. Not anymore. Now we've got the likes of Raphael Hajaka Nakachinda, who can sit in a South African television studio and peddle this lie that ECL was possibly poisoned. Now, let's look at this analytically. You remember when ECL finally was allowed to go to South Africa. But ECL's been battling something that to this day still has not been announced. But the PF know that Malungu was unwell. He was unwell. He went for a procedure that they themselves, they are fully aware of what was wrong with him, because only they had access to him while in South Africa. Thabo Kawana announced that Malungu was going through chemotherapy. Very quickly, the PF pushed against that. Given Lubinda, Emmanuel Mwamba, Raphael Hajaka Nakachinda, including that clown, Sean Zero Tembo. They came on social media and they screamed bloody murder. They said, how dare you say that our president is going through chemotherapy? You liars. Nothing is wrong with ECL. He's just going for a routine medical checkup. That's what you said. Or in Zambia, as we say, that's what you said. That's what you said. That's what you told the Zambian people. You stood right there in front of a camera and you said to the Zambian people, toe to toe, eyeball to eyeball, with a straight face, you said nothing was wrong with ECL. That's what you said. You said he was fine. He was going through a routine medical checkup. and everything was okay. And anybody that insinuates or implies that he's going through chemotherapy, we're going to sue the hell out of you. Sean Zero Tembo steps up and he sends the government a demand letter for $5 billion. Can you believe it? 5 billion kwacha. Can you believe it? Kuti, we are demanding 5 billion from the state for defaming ECL. How dare you insinuate that he was going for chemotherapy? You are trying to sabotage our efforts to recontest the elections in 2026 by you insinuating that the former and sixth president of the Republic of Zambia is going through chemotherapy. You are lying to the Zambian people. That's what Sean Zero Tembo said. Fast forward a few days ago, it was announced, sadly, it was announced, the sixth and former president, Lungu, had passed away. Very quickly. Given Nubinda, Emmanuel Mwamba, Raphael hijacked Nakachinda, very quick, to now start talking as if nothing was wrong, that something clandestine was going on underneath the surface of what you and I can see. And then Raphael goes on South African television yesterday and he starts to peddle this lie. He starts to insinuate. And if you listen to that interview, listen very carefully to what he said. He shifts the responsibility onto Walungu's family. Raphael said, and these are the markings of a cunning, sniveling narcissist. Raphael says, no, the family suspects that there's some form of foul play. The interviewer says, why would they conclude that? Why would they think that the former and sixth president was poisoned? What would give them that idea? Raphael says, oh, I don't know. That's what they think. And whatever the family thinks, we as a political party have to support that thought. I'm paraphrasing, but you know what I'm talking about. Watch the interview, it's there. Now, that is not only malicious, not only is it sinister, it is debauchery, conspiracy, and every last one of those PF jokers are in on it, including her. You know what I'm trying to tell you? You know what I'm trying to tell you? Tell me in the comments if what I'm saying to you makes sense. This is conspiracy. Conspiracy of the highest order, and the PF will stop at nothing in as far as trying and attempting to destabilize the peace and tranquility of this nation, even if it means creating falsities, lies, and innuendo. They've never stopped. The PF have never stopped this type of machination. It's in their political DNA. It's what they do. And brothers and sisters, if you and I don't stand up against this, because let me tell you, what I'm explaining to you is the correct analysis of the situation. And if you don't look at it from that angle, you'll be misled. Understand that? Oh, let me say it again. What I'm telling you now is the correct analysis of this problem. And if you don't look at it like that, you'll be misled by these chaps. They are hell-bent on anarchy. They are hell-bent on confusion. They are hell-bent on searing the minds of the Zambian simpleton for political purposes. That is all they are concerned about. You think they are concerned about ECL and his family? You think that? You think given Lubinda, Emmanuel Mwamba, Sean Zero Tembo, And that hijack Nakachinda. You think they care about this nation? You think they care about the family? The only thing they care about is their personal interest, their political survival, and they will stop at nothing to achieve their sinister goal. I will tell you now. But guess what? It's not going to work because we see right through you. It's not going to work. You can holler all you want. When the dust settles and when the dew dries, the Zambian people are going to see you for who you really are. Shysters, crooks, vagabonds, jackals, bottom feeders, hell-bent on destroying this nation. The PF would rather see this nation crumble and engulfed in flames than to see peace and tranquility. Peace and tranquility doesn't play into their hands. Peace and tranquility and harmony doesn't serve their purpose. Violence, debauchery, anarchy, utter bedlam is what they desire. They thirst for blood, but that thirst will not be quenched because the Zambian people are going to stand up and say, no, 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 no. We see you for who you are, and we're not going to let you get away with it. Not now, not ever. All right. I've said it. Lastly, you guys know the police, you guys know I was assaulted by marketeers. And I got to tell you, I know some of you find that funny. It's funny because it didn't happen to you. This part of my jaw constantly hurts. And I'm tired of taking painkillers. You know, I don't like that. My wife is constantly saying, don't take painkillers so much. Constantly hurts. I can't open my mouth too wide. I've had an x-ray and nothing's broken, but there is something amiss here. And this part of my face here is slightly permanently swollen. I'm not trying to get sympathy from you. I'm just telling you the truth. Because, you know, on Facebook, people say, oh, no, so you want us to feel sorry for you. Eh? You want us to feel sorry for you. I'm just telling you my experience, okay? Just relax. So anyway, we a few weeks ago, we went and we identified the people, actually 4 people, that we know were part of the assault, because I recognize them, I know them. The police to date have done nothing about it. And it really is, it's annoying. Because had the tables been turned, had I assaulted a marketeer, you think I can be sitting here? If I assaulted a marketeer, you think mwewa can be sitting in his office? There will be 300 people on the gate. He assaulted muntu watu uyo mukati alimu Simoson. Muchoseni tunakumpaya. But because I was assaulted, nobody says anything, right? After all, it's just mwewa. That's the world we live in. It's a sad world. It really is. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. God bless. Bye.